No. No way.
Fire seems to work.
Let's go back in time. The Evil Within came out at a time when horror in video games, and especially survival horror, was stagnating. It's not like how it is now, where we keep getting blessed with more and more quality titles thanks to indie developers. No, it was a dark and scary time for the genre, which is fitting, I guess, thanks to a little unknown game that you've probably never ever heard about, called Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and the popularity of that man who was slender and stalking people in the forest like a creep.
I'm Slender Man!
Many games attempted to copy their success by removing all combat from the equation, making your character completely defenseless. Just like me when my cat starts to scratch me. Resident Evil itself, the franchise that literally invented the name for the genre, was going through a midlife crisis after RE6, which was we don't need to talk about that now.
You're here to pour drinks and look pretty. So how about you shut your mouth? Who are you? What is this?
True survival horror was basically dead. Established horror games became full-on action games, and new horror games were a tag you're it simulator, where you just run away and hide from enemies. If you were a classic survival horror fan back then, it was a difficult time. But then, in 2014, the creator of the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4, Shinji Mikami himself, came out and said something like,
"Man, shut your stupid ass up. These modern games don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna show you what true survival horror looks like. It's even going to be scarier than my previous games. God-handed goof troop."
Then bam, he released The Evil Within, a game meant to defy modern trends and bring back the spirit of classic survival horror games.
You're welcome.
Only for the game to then use those same trends itself, even though they barely add anything to the experience. I mean, what was he thinking? This game is broken. I'm getting ahead of myself. I played it when it came out, and replayed it a few times over the years. The Evil Within is like a combination of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Resident Evil 4, to be precise. In some ways, you could say that The Evil Within was the first remake for RE4. It has very similar gameplay and vibes. It has a similar take on horror. It's very action focused, but it's more spooky and has an emphasis on symbolism and psychological horror. That sounds perfect. Yes? No.
What the f?
Okay, it's a good game. Sometimes it's a really interesting game, but sometimes it's not. Let's get into it. I'm playing a nightmare, by the way, but after editing the video, I also finished the game on Akumu, where you die from a single hit, and boy oh boy, it made me a way better player. The game starts with a police car driving towards a hospital. Just like in the original Resident Evil, there's reports about mass homicides.
Call went out just before I picked you up, said it was multiple homicides.
And a bunch of cops are sent to investigate. Our main character is Sebastian Castellanos, or however you say that. He's a detective at Crimson City. He's 6 feet tall and is 48 years old. That's not important. The others are Joseph Oda and Julie Kidman, who is a newbie. Her voice actress is Jennifer Carpenter, aka Deborah Morgan from the hit comedy show Dexter, aka the best cop ever. Jennifer Carpenter playing a cop? Who would have guessed? Only she doesn't cuss as much as she does in the show.
I'm sure we'll know everything once we get there. Okay.
This place is called Beacon Hospital, or Bacon Hospital as I like to call it. And wait, I forgot about that. The letterbox. Thankfully, nowadays you can remove it, which you couldn't do in the original release. I guess they were supposed to make the game more cinematic, but no. Going inside, we see that he wasn't kidding about the multiple homicide thing. That would have been a funny joke. There's at least a dozen victims, but someone is still alive. It's a doctor.
Can't be real. Impossible.
We go check the security cameras for some clues, but something impossible happens.
Impossible.
A bunch of cops are shooting at someone, but get massacred by a teleporting hooded edgelord. The edging lord then proceeds to teleport behind Sebastian and stab him with a needle. That's quite the opening. The game just started and already we got knocked out by a teleporting weirdo, and now we're hanging in some kind of butcher cave beneath the hospital. The first person perspective is a nice touch. Speaking of butchers, there's a scary one right here, and he's chopping people up. He's called the Sadist. We manage to grab a knife from a nearby corpse, slice the rope, and fall down. At this point, we discover something horrible. They took my gun, but more importantly, my jacket. Why do bad guys like to steal the protagonist's jackets in these games? You know his wife got him this jacket, and he never seems to clean it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey you, give me my jacket back. You think I'm scared of you? Wait, what? In order to get out of here, we need to steal the keys to a door. Unfortunately, the door leads to a trap. Sebastian accidentally activates the alarm, and the sadist starts running after him with a chainsaw. Of course there's an enemy with a chainsaw. Resident Evil 4 and 5 and 6. I'm not complaining, I'm just highlighting the similarities. Okay, now this is insanity. This part always stuck out to me. First of all, instead of just walking a few steps towards him and slicing him a new asshole, the chainsaw man decides to put a gate between them. Sure, he led him into a supposed death trap, but Sebastian was right there, and now he managed to escape. And a few minutes later, Chainsaw Dude chases after him again, and he somehow can't catch Sebastian, even when he's limping and falling down like a clumsy idiot. How incompetent is he? This is the worst chainsaw-wielding maniac ever. I get it. The developers wanted to make a tense opening to the game. Which it is. But when you really think about it, it comes off as stupid and goofy. The second stupid thing that happens is that Sebastian casually heals from his leg being sliced by a freaking chainsaw. Is he Ethan Winters from RE7?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm not saying that I wanna play the whole game like this, but give me some kind of explanation. At least show him putting a band-aid on his leg or something. After falling into a pool of blood that should definitely give him tons of diseases, Sebastian needs to avoid the chainsaw dude by hiding in a locker. This whole starting section would lead you to believe this is a game where stealth is an important part of the gameplay, like in Amnesia or Outlast. You don't have any weapons, so you have to sneak around. You have to run away because you can't fight back. You can hide in lockers, later you can hide under a bed or under a car. You can throw bottles to distract the enemy and sneak past them. You can throw bottles at his face, but that's not very effective. I would not recommend that. All of these stealth mechanics that were just introduced will mostly disappear the second you finish this level. You can still kind of use them sometimes, but they become irrelevant when you have weapons. Sebastian manages to get inside of an elevator and the first chapter ends.
What the fuck?
He returns to the hospital, all healed up. Running outside, the whole area suddenly starts to shake. It seems everything is about to collapse. This is how I felt inside whenever I worked in IT. Luckily, the officer from before was nice enough to come back and pick us up. He also managed to pick up Kidman, that doctor we found, and his patient Leslie. Unfortunately, Joseph didn't make it. This is probably one of the most bombastic openings to a horror game I've ever seen. We narrowly escaped from a chainsaw-wielding maniac, but instead of getting to safety, we came back to some kind of earthquake, which is destroying the entire city. And it looks really impressive. Let me remind you, this came out in 2014. The floor is falling apart. Parts of the city are literally moving towards each other. This driver is a badass. I sure do hope he'll stay with me for the rest of the game. No wait, he's a zombie now. He randomly turned into a disgusting zombie and we're about to crash. Is that normal police behavior?
Look out!
Fall!
If you haven't played this game, you might be wondering what the heck is going on. Everything feels so random. Just don't worry. Just don't think about it. It's normal. It's normal to experience all of that and then wake up in this random sanitarium. The fixed camera is a nice touch. This game has a save room, just like, say it with me now, just like in Resident Evil. It also has lovely music, but this one has a lot more character to it, and there's an actual character here, in the form of Nurse Tatiana. She's a very nice lady.
Please, have a seat.
Why, thank you. You're gonna take care of me, huh? Yeah, you don't need to be gentle with me. Wait, I take it back. Please be gentle, please be gentle. Instead of an item box, there's a special chair, which looks like a trap from the movie Saw. It's used for upgrading yourself. Do you use money for these upgrades? No, dummy, you obviously use green brain gel. You get it by defeating enemies, or just find it in jars. Though I have to ask, who keeps leaving it in jars all over the place? That's very considerate. Upgrading health has that nice side effect of healing you completely if you don't have full HP. I'll talk about this place later, in more detail.
No, not that way, no.
So many new admissions, and not a single discharge.
Sebastian wakes up from this supposed dream and finds himself crashed in a forest. Everyone else is gone. After finding a lantern, he spots the cool police driver and goes after him. Remember how he randomly turned into a zombie? The game reminds you about it in this very subtle Resident Evil reference.
God, Conley.
He killed his friend. It's kind of sad. After sending his friend to a better place, Sebastian reunites with this patient. His name is Leslie, and he's not exactly in the right mind to help us.
How am I gonna get you to a hospital?
Hospital.
What the fuck?
Leslie runs into this cabin, but a man goes after him. So Sebastian stabs him in the head. Mind you, he doesn't know it's a monster yet. He just stabbed this dude in the head without even reading him his rights. We quickly find out that all of the people here turned into zombie-like creatures, just like our police friend. Which means it's time to talk about the combat. Let's get this out of the way first. Sebastian's stamina sucks ass. It's really bad. Get this, he can only sprint for 3 seconds. But if you fully upgrade him, he will run for way longer, right? Yeah. Now he can run for 10 seconds. Really? He's supposed to be a top-notch detective in good physical shape. I can run more than 10 seconds in my sleep. Come on, run. Are you an obese old man or something? Oh, thanks for waiting, man. Look, I like this game, but here's another stupid thing I don't like. Look how much the camera zooms in when you're aiming a weapon. Look! Mikami-sama, why? Why you do this? Why you do this to me?
Very disappointed.
You're welcome.
It's insane. It almost turns into a first-person shooter. But in the save room, it's less zoomed in. Why? You have very little ammo in the beginning, so you shouldn't waste your shots. You could try punching the bad man to conserve ammo, but it barely does any damage. But sometimes it makes their head explode. And if you manage to get them on the ground and step on them, you could potentially one-shot them. His stomp is almost as mighty as Isaac's from Dead Space. If you have a melee weapon, you will destroy most of them in one hit, but the weapon will break. Now let's talk about something I actually like. One of the more unique features of this game is the option to burn corpses, or enemies that were knocked down. It's kind of like how you burn dead zombies in the Resident Evil remake, only here you don't do it to prevent them from coming back to life. You do it to instantly kill them. There's some strategy to it. You need to use one match to burn one enemy. But if you manage to burn an enemy while other enemies are nearby, you can light all of them at the same time with a single match. You really feel like a little kid whose dream was to become a professional arsonist.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, Sebastian, be a nice person and open the door slowly so the enemies can catch up to you. Yes, Sebastian, be a nice person and blow up along with the enemy. This is where the game truly begins, and it's brutal on Nightmare. This is one of the few times where you should really use stealth. But I don't think the enemy AI was made for it. They can spot you from a mile away, even while you're crawling in the dark. For some reason, you can't use the knife as a melee weapon. You can only use it for stealth takedowns. Although one time he was too lazy to pull out the knife, so he just snapped their neck. Cool. You can also run away and lead them into traps. There's a lot of those. Eventually Sebastian gets overrun by zombies, so he does a cool kick on one of them and jumps into the water. Now we get to the Resident Evil 4 part of the game. You know how the village fight is one of the best moments in gaming? Yeah, they tried recreating it here. You got a spooky village, spooky villagers, you're looking at them from binoculars, you can go into houses and find items. There's even a long ladder that can take you to an upper floor. Okay. You can even find a shotgun inside one of the houses. It's not really powerful until you upgrade it, so I mostly use it as a way to knock multiple enemies down, so I can burn them all at the same time. Yes! There's even a chainsaw man. I'm assuming it's the one from the beginning. For some reason, he's chained up in the farmhouse. I guess even the villagers don't like him. Maybe because he cuts them into pieces. Or maybe it's punishment for being so bad at catching Sebastian in the beginning. Time to get some revenge, you ugly bastard. Good thing I got this crossbow. The Agony crossbow is the most unique weapon in the game. It can fire multiple types of arrows, each with their own special effect. You can use parts you find in the game to make more bolts. This is the only crafting in the game, and I kept forgetting to use it. You either just find parts in the environment, or you get them by disarming traps. Look at him tickling the air, pretending to know what he's doing. This is how most men look on a date with a woman. There's explosive, shock, freeze, flash, and harpoon, which can stick enemies into walls, and it does fire damage at level 5. Too bad there isn't a rope arrow. It's a very cool weapon, and is useful in any situation. When you kill the sadist, he turns into red flies that go into... Hey, it's that edgy, hooded guy. We reunite with Jimenez, the doctor we found in the beginning. He's Leslie's doctor, and he wants to find his patient. But before that, he wants to meet with his brother. He's Leslie's original doctor, and is supposed to be a nice guy. A nice guy dismantling a dead body? No, wait, his brother is another stupid zombie. Wait, now he's dead. I made his head explode. No, wait, now he's a ghost? With an itch? And that's why nice guys finish last. You'd think he would be an important character, but no, he's gone. And Jimenez isn't really sad about his brother exploding in front of him.
Impossible.
We eventually find the poor insane boy, but reality kind of starts twisting around us. The door we came in disappeared. Leslie is losing his mind.
Losing our minds.
Losing our minds! Losing our minds! Losing our minds!
And then the edgelord appears. It's becoming obvious that he's in charge of whatever's going on here, and Jimenez knows him.
Ruvik, it is you.
Who the hell are you?
No! Don't follow!
He turns around like an anime villain. Following him causes Sebastian to disappear into another location, which will be the most common mode of transportation for him. If you didn't know, this game has a lot of symbolism. This is what happens to you when you hit on a woman on her period. But I think this is actually a reference to The Shining. If that period joke was too subtle, the walls begin to bleed. Speaking of bloody women, one comes out of a corpse. She's actually a really important character, but we will talk about her later. For now, we have to run away, because she's pretty much invincible, and she will murder us with one hit.
Shit, I'd better run!
We do learn that she is weak to fire, like the other enemies, and that she can respawn from any corpse. That will be useful information in the future. Sebastian manages to get away from the spider lady.
I made it. I can't believe it.
But Ruvik, the anime villain, appears, and we finally have an opportunity to confront him outside of a cutscene. That wasn't a good idea. He eventually destroys the whole place. Sebastian falls to his death, and the game is over. Wow, that was short. Oh wait, of course he survived this 500 feet fall. Also, this is where the game officially drops any sense of realism it had. He's phasing through solid objects. He's landing on the wall, but the wall becomes the floor, and the floor becomes the wall. Try saying that 5 times in a row. The way the perspective shifts is cool. The evil within is really good with that. We inexplicably landed in some kind of asylum. The atmosphere takes a turn and becomes genuinely creepy. Look, you don't need to laugh at me. I only peed my pants once, it's not that funny. There's an old woman who fell and can't get up, so I ignore her to grab some ammo, but then she gets up.
What the f-
There's a few spooky moments like that, but the spookiest part is the new enemy type. Tell me if you can see him. No, it's not the hospital bed. This isn't like Silent Hill 4 and its wheelchairs, which was stupid. Come on, can't you see it? No, of course not. Because he's invisible. Yeah, there's invisible enemies now. And I'll admit, I did kinda feel tense while fighting them. The best way to deal with them is to look for their footsteps. Or make them bump into random objects. You can actually use the physics engine to your advantage. I really like that. Pretty much every game nowadays has a physics engine, but they almost never use it for gameplay purposes, which is a waste of potential. If there's nothing for them to bump into, you will get grabbed. After solving a few ghostly puzzles, Sebastian finds Joseph.
Joseph!
Do you really think it's the right time to take a nap in a bathtub? I thought Japanese people had better manners. And before you call me racist, yes, he is in fact Japanese. Joseph and Sebastian start sneaking around together, defusing bombs, doing cool shit, when suddenly they hear an ear-piercing siren, and Joseph seemingly transforms and attacks him.
I can't believe you've done this.
Joseph, what are you doing? I thought we were bros. He's clearly possessed by the same force that turned everyone into zombies. Thankfully, he manages to revert back to normal. Instead of maybe talking about what happened, they just kind of ignore it and move on.
Look, let's just get out of here.
I'm fine. No need to worry.
Fun fact, the guy who voices Joseph also voices the Prince of Persia, and that guy who was fanboying over Chris in Resident Evil 6.
Yes, sir. I'll give this everything I've got. Is he always this awesome?
After that awkward moment, they manage to find Kidman, who is also taking a bath, but this time it's a trap. I have no idea how these whack jobs built this device, but they use her as bait to ambush us. This is a nice combat section, or at least it would be, if Joseph didn't keep dying. Come on man, can't you take a few knives and axes to the face? What kind of cop are you? Come here, stop running, let me heal you. Wow, she's really holding on there. Nice lungs. The game tries to build tension here, but it falls flat when you realize she can just keep drowning forever. No, seriously, only after you talk to Joseph at this specific spot, only then her health bar appears. Or air bar. After fighting some really dumb enemies who blow themselves up, we manage to free Kidman. Hooray, everyone is safe. No wait, they fall into a bottomless pit. Just a minor inconvenience.
Joseph! Kidman!
I don't think they can hear you, dude.
Hang on, I'm coming!
That's what I always say before going inside a deep hole. Wait, is he actually jumping inside without even knowing where it leads or how deep it is? Is he insane like James from Silent Hill 2? Surprisingly, not only does he survive, but he doesn't even take fall damage. He should have at least break a leg, but I guess his legs have amazing regeneration powers. All of this seems really random. We're jumping from location to location, from one fight to the next, but we don't really have a goal, we're just going through the motion. For now, we pass through a modern loading screen and find them fighting for their lives. Then Joseph saved me from certain death in the middle of an enemy stomping animation. Thanks bro. It's nice seeing them having a good relationship with each other. You really feel like they're partners. But then she says something strange.
It's odd though. Why would they catch you instead of just killing you?
Maybe he didn't see me as a threat.
Right after that, they hear that ear-piercing sound again, and notice how this shockwave isn't affecting her. Each of them get dragged into the ground, and they get separated. It feels like there's no sense of continuity. Anything can happen at any time, which can make you feel lost in terms of the story. But don't worry, everything will be explained at the end. For better and worse. I wanna say something before we move on. Maybe I'll sound like a psycho, but the blood effects in this game are great. Especially with headshots. Look at all of this beautiful ketchup. The indestructible spider lady shows up again. So I burn her. And myself. We can't really damage her with weapons, so we have to use anything flammable we can find in the environment. Stuff like corpses, torches, hot, giant furnaces. It's kind of easy, but at the same time it's intense. Your timing has to be perfect, because if it's not, she will slap you into the afterlife, which looks kind of painful. She's very spooky, and her true origin is a significant part of the plot. But as you can see, she's kind of dumb. You can pretty easily manipulate her AI. It is easy, but it can also be frustrating if you keep losing, since you'll have to burn her over and over again in these very specific ways, especially when Sebastian is holding a torch and I press the melee button, but he decides to kick her instead of burning her. Sebastian, you idiot! You know how you need fire to damage her? Apparently my shotgun can burn her too. That's terrifying. We finally get an important piece of the story. A vision of Ruvik and Leslie appears before Sebastian, which seems to be a flashback. Ruvik is some kind of scientist who was conducting experiments on Leslie, so he's not just an edgy anime villain. He likes to torture mentally unstable people, which makes him more edgy? Leslie is also in the same type of bathtub we found Joseph in. He begins to scream, which makes the vision break down, and
what in the hell?
it seems Ruvik has been doing experiments on a lot of people, using this giant brain. Anyone who gets connected to the brain turns into the zombies we've been fighting. They're called the Hunted in-game. You have to unplug their USB ports from their necks and disconnect them from the brain, which is not a sentence I thought I would ever say. disconnecting everyone causes Sebastian to teleport again, and the chapter ends. The next chapter leads us outside. For the first time since the game started, we finally see daylight. And man, it's beautiful. This game came out over a decade ago, and it still looks great. Look at this scenery. Also, something random I like in this game is that unlike most third-person shooters that have no jump button, you can actually jump if you're close to the edge and you're about to break. We find Joseph unconscious again, and he's like, yeah man, I'm going crazy, but I'm getting used to it, so it's fine. Okay, you know how in Resident Evil 4 you had that awesome and tense cabin fight with Lewis?
I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics too.
Like a lot of games that came out since then, the Evil Within tried to replicate it. This is where I discovered something truly special and not bullshit at all. Enemies can hit you while you're stuck in an animation, so if an enemy grabs you, another one can mess you up from behind, even when you're in the middle of getting up. You know, most games give you invincibility frames. It's the polite thing to do, Evil Within. Eventually they get out of there, and we find a rifle, which is the last weapon you can get outside of special unlockables. Now the exaggerated zoom in makes sense. This is a difficult but good section. You have the option to go guns blazing or sneak around. It's better to... Joseph, what are you doing? Why didn't you kill him? You let him get away, you dummy.
Let's be careful. It could be full of them.
Yeah, let's be careful, Joseph. Why don't you help me?
Are you alright?
No, I'm not alright, because you're not doing anything. He's indecisive. Sometimes he's useful, sometimes he's useless. Anyway, after beating a harpoon shooter guy and another chainsaw dude, we get to the hardest part of the game, an awkward elevator ride. This is one of the hardest parts in real life. Joseph continues to lose it again. For some reason, whatever is happening is affecting him way more than Sebastian. Also, there's some kind of mansion up ahead. I'm sure it's not important.
There are only two. We can take them.
No, that's not...
Joseph, you idiot! He gets knocked out and captured, so we have to shoot these knuckleheads. Wanna know how he thanks me for saving his life?
You should have just let them.
Huh? What the hell?
It's just a matter of time. It's better this way.
What the fuck? Fuck.
Dude, if you wanna off yourself, you should have told me earlier. I could have saved 2 sniper shells. He regains his composure for now, and we get another Resident Evil 4 callback. If you're getting tired of these comparisons, you should know that I am tired too. They run away from a mob and close these giant castle doors behind them, or whatever it's called. It's this part. I've said it already, but I think The Evil Within was kind of supposed to be the first remake for RE4, or at least a spiritual remake. This place marks a nice break, a calm before the storm. We get to rest and restock with health and ammo. But like a lot of places in the game, it also tells a story. There are tons of boxes associated with Bacon Hospital. The hospital from the beginning is somehow connected to everything that's happening. This is also where the characters and the player really start piecing the pieces together.
Where do you suppose we are?
More like when? This architecture seems straight out of the Middle Ages.
Yeah, but there's electricity. Elevators. This place can't be real.
It's like jumbled up memories.
We're inside of jumbled memories. The edgelord seems to be controlling this reality. People are turning into ugly freaks. They're connected to a giant brain. This will be clearly explained much later, but we can already deduce that we're all inside of Ruvik's mind. And we somehow got there before or after he stabbed us with a needle. This is also a good time to mention that all of these characters are not that interesting. they're kind of boring. This is pretty much the only moment where they have a genuine conversation and express their personalities. Something more than my head hurts, grr, I'm a stereotypical gruff detective. Grr, we need to get out of here.
We need to get out of here. Look, let's just get out of here.
We actually get to learn something about them. Sebastian was an alcoholic, but he became like that because of a tragic incident involving his family. He knows it's not healthy, but still comes up with excuses. We also learn that Joseph is not just his co-worker. He's an actual good friend. He did not report his drinking problem to their managers, so that he wouldn't get in trouble. It's also implied that Sebastian doesn't really have anything going on in his life, outside of work. This is a very short but great character moment, and it's pretty much the only one in the entire game. That's a shame. Well, that's enough of that. Look at this big hammer. Skulls. That's not a good sign. Nope, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. Oh no! Nah, he's actually pretty easy. And goofy. Also his brother. We jump down and get to some kind of creepy dungeon with hanging human sex. They're meant to be sacrifices for a giant demon dog. That's nice. You can get them out of their misery if you want, you monster. After solving a puzzle, we get another awkward elevator ride. It's kind of looks like Sebastian is like, "Why aren't you getting out, Joseph? We're here. Why are you standing so close to me? Why am I standing so close to you? Joseph, Let's go, partner. Watch your six." We eventually get out of these dungeons, but remember that dog I mentioned? Who let the dogs out? Woof, 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 woof. Spooky dog, you make me look bad. This is the first proper boss fight. Almost no gimmicks, just shoot it until you win. It likes to hide in the bushes for a few seconds before rushing at you. After a minor scuffle, we defeat the Mad Canine and get out of there. But oh wait, Joseph is in a pickle. Because he's a nerd who wears glasses, the biggest damage he took was not getting hit by the gigantic puppy, it was losing his glasses.
What is it?
I dropped my glasses back there.
Fuck.
My glasses! I can't see without my glasses!
My glasses! I can't be seen without my glasses!
It's hard for him to see without them, so I need to go back and fight the scary two-mouthed dog again. Look, I get it. It's hard to see without them. I wear glasses too. But come on. Fine, I'll go get your stupid glasses.
Hurry back before that thing finds you!
I think it already found me. I give it to him, and even Sebastian is like, "Come on, dude."
Jeez, Joseph, all that for a pair of glasses.
They take shelter in a nearby church, and Joseph is really starting to lose it. Ruvik's influence is becoming stronger, and it really makes him want to jump from high places. The conversation becomes kind of heavy. So of course the Edgemaster shows up and ruins the moment by giving them a headache and teleporting Sebastian for the 50th time. Wait. I'm assuming Ruvik can teleport and do that whenever he wants, so why doesn't he just kill them? Why didn't he kill them from the start? Oh, and Sebastian survives another fatal drop. Now this is one of the good parts. This chapter is called The Keeper, and it's a good one. It's dark, quiet. The whole area is a prison with traps. It's filled with bones of its prisoners. Some of them have been placed in a ritualistic way. The ones who survived have turned into these grotesque walking meat sacks. There's build up to something truly menacing. At this point, we start finding multiple safes, the kinds that hide money or meth. You see something in the distance. You can't quite understand what it is, but you know it's bad. A recording from Ruvik talks about how anyone who's going to open the safe needs to be ready to pay the price. Then another safe, but this one starts moving. And then it locks you up with poison gas. Never trust a moving safe. After barely getting out of there and fighting some enemies, Sebastian finds Leslie in a cage and lets him out. Man, this poor kid, he just wants to go home.
Get it open!
We get it open, but he runs away in panic and accidentally locks us inside. And this is what this chapter was leading to.
Leslie! Leslie!
This is Safe Head. I mean, this is the Keeper. He's basically the pyramid head of this game. They both represent dark secrets. Both of them are monsters with a geometrical shape for a head, and both of them are tough and almost indestructible. He can be killed, but he'll just respawn after 5 seconds. It's best to get rid of him and use those 5 seconds to turn these valves, or else you'll die from gas. It's a tense fight. Even if you manage to get away from him, he will literally off himself just to respawn next to you. The guy is basically teleporting, and his face can turn into a face hugger. He will even break the valves so you won't be able to turn the gas off. It's great. We've already established that all of this takes place inside of Ruvik's head, meaning everything is symbolic to his life in some way. The Keeper represents all of the bad stuff that happened to Ruvik during his childhood, and all of the bad stuff he did since then, stuff he wants to keep hidden away. Oh, and the Keeper also has a really big sack. After a tense fight, Sebastian manages to trap him, and seemingly finishes him up.
Finally.
He's gonna come back. After this terrifying encounter, Sebastian can relax, right? No, he has to fight body horror abominations that are basically the last plagas from RE4. After more teleporting, Sebastian finds Jimenez again. It's been a while since we've seen him, and it seems like he's trying to figure out how to get back to reality. But it's obvious he knows more about the situation than he lets on. We discover that Ruvik was actually his science partner.
Great. So your research partner is a psychopath. And we're all inside his head.
Not exactly, no. All of us are contributing on some level. But he's the only one with conscious influence.
You know how he thinks. What does he want?
Well, it's just a theory, but I'd say he wants us dead.
Well, you don't need to be a scientist to figure that out. We get separated and see a vision of us burning alive in some kind of field. It's like Ruvik is trying to show us something specific. He's trying to tell us something. You know, if you want to tell me something, you can just use your words. This isn't random anymore. He specifically brought Sebastian here to show him his past. Now it's finally time for the Spencer Mansion. I mean, the Ruvik Mansion.
Stop, damn it! Now what?
This is Ruvik's childhood house. He grew up in a wealthy family. It's big and spooky. There's creepy voices. There's enemies. You know, things you would expect. It's a really fitting level for this game, but that's not the important part. If we go back to the save room, we can find a missing poster of Ruben Victoriano, which is Ruvik's real name. He supposedly died in a fire. Maybe that's why he doesn't instantly kill Sebastian? Because right before finding his poster, we can learn that Sebastian had a daughter who also died in a fire, which Sebastian never mentions in-game. Ruvik knows everyone's history, so maybe he feels some kind of connection to Sebastian. Maybe he feels bad for him. Maybe he doesn't really want to hurt him. Nah, he starts teleporting all over the place and one-shotting you if you touch him. Asshole. Oh, and his voice actor played Freddy Krueger in the 2010 remake of that film, which is fitting. They're both ugly, disfigured freaks with burned skin. This part can be annoying, since he can teleport right in your face, and if you happen to walk in his direction when that happens, get ready to do this section all over again, unless you save every 2 minutes like I did. You kind of just need to run away for a few seconds until he gets bored and disappears. It's not difficult, but I don't like it when games throw enemies that can delete you just by touching you. Make them invincible if you want, but let me survive at least one of their attacks, so that I will at least have a chance to get away. Speaking of getting one-shotted, there's also these meat blenders. If you don't hit the red switch in time, you'll turn into a bloody milkshake, and the game makes it difficult to aim, so that's fun. The mansion offers some puzzles, but more importantly, it's here where we finally receive some answers. A lot of answers. Each time we complete a puzzle, we see flashbacks of a young Ruvik talking with Jimenez. Ruvik was already a genius scientist, even as a boy, and performed gross experiments, as he calls it. Jimenez didn't care about that. He never had any ethics. He just wanted to exploit Ruvik.
You think I'm some kind of a monster?
You concern yourself so much with your appearance, but that mind of yours, that's all that matters.
Ruvik's family was donating a lot of money to Beacon Hospital, which is where Jimenez worked. In exchange, he gave him patients to experiment on. Sounds fair. It was a productive relationship that lasted for many years, until Jimenez discovered that Ruvik was torturing his patients. I'm not sure why that specifically bothered him. He's the one who sold them off to Ruvik. Jimenez is basically a human trafficker. What did bother him is when Ruvik decided to stop donating money to the hospital, which prompted Jimenez to stop giving him patients. It's all about the money, baby. This isn't relevant, but anytime I see someone with a bandaged face, I think about sanitarium. But how come Ruvik was in control of his family's wealth? What about his parents? Oh, he killed them because he was mad at his father for locking him in the basement, and I got sick during the making of this video, so this is my voice now, but I'm gonna finish it.
Did you actually think if you locked me away, I would just cease to exist? Out of sight, out of mind.
So why did his father lock him in the basement? Because he became disfigured and grotesque. How did that happen? Because when he was young, some random villagers were jealous of his family and burned his farmhouse along with him and his sister. Guys, just invest in crypto, then you'll be rich too. Promise. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, I think there's kids in there.
I didn't hear anything. What the?
Ruben, you have to climb!
Shit. I better get out of here.
Remember that unkillable spider lady? Yeah, that's a manifestation of his sister's suffering. Her name was Laura. I guess now we know why she hates fire, and why every enemy hates fire. Sebastian attempts to get out of there, but is ambushed by this red thing. You can't hurt it, you can only damage the zombies, and if it touches you, you instantly die. And you know how much I love that.
What the fuck?
I'm not sure what this is. I couldn't even find it on the Wikipedia page. We just established the spider lady as his sister's suffering, so I guess this is Ruvik's rage over the death of his sister? I don't know. It says this at the end of the fight. Look man, this is sad and all, but I didn't do anything to you. I was too busy teleporting all over the place and being a boring protagonist. Ruvik was quite disturbed and antisocial, even as a young man, but his sister was the only person he truly loved, and she was taken away from him. They were both victims of senseless hatred, which is why he wants to take out his hatred on others. If that wasn't obvious, a random dude in the save room spills it out.
Hate. The man's consumed by it. He wants out. Wants to get his revenge. He wants back what he feels the world took from him. It's not like he could actually get that.
Oh, and something really cool I have to mention. Before the fight, Sebastian got teleported to the Eclipse from Berserk. Seriously, look at this. All the creepy, giant faces. I wanna nuzzle between them. Whenever I get frustrated with this game, I remind myself that it has moments like this.
What a thrill.
Sebastian sees Laura doing some intense exercises. So of course he decides to trap himself with her. It's fine, she's just an unkillable monster that can one-shot you. He narrowly manages to escape, and is somehow strong enough to close a door in her face, and she's somehow dumb enough to not just reopen the door. Maybe she doesn't know how, but she does know how to open sewer vents. That's a useful skill to have. So I burn her.
Burn, damn it!
Again.
Burn! Burn, damn it!
And again.
You have the right to remain.
Burn! Burn, damn it!
And again. Seb barely manages to get away from her filthy paws using an elevator and the power of gravity. This is the last time we see her. Bye! Sorry you were burned to death, but I must be leaving now.
Interesting hand job. That's funny.
Before he can celebrate, little brother shows up.
Who do you think you are? I know who you are. Seb. I know what you crave, what you fear. Will you be able to live with yourself knowing what I'm gonna make you do? Poor little Joseph couldn't. Too bad they dragged you into this. But either way, you're mine. To do with as I please.
And then he doesn't do anything to him. The elevator leads back to the mansion, which leads him back to Jimenez, who is performing experiments on Leslie. At this point, Sebastian has had enough, and is like, dude, I've been fighting monsters, I have been teleporting all over the place, this edgelord was just talking to me and his breath stinks, so you and your receding hairline better tell me what's going on here before I shoot you. Geezer.
Leslie has been here before, and made it back. He survived being linked to Ruvik, the only patient ever as far as I know.
Wonderful. What does that have to do with any of this?
He's our way out, Detective. Our only way back.
Somehow Leslie can get us out of here. He continues with his experiments, which puts Leslie in great pain. But it does seem to be working. The place begins to shift, and they're supposedly getting back to reality. So is the game over? No, of course not. You see how long this video is? Something malfunctions. They go back inside Ruvik's mind. A giant monster shows up, crushes Jimenez, and then, say it with me now, Sebastian is teleported again. How many times is he gonna fall like that? He should be super dead at this point. Before getting crushed, Jimenez realized that Ruvik's ultimate goal is to also get out of here. We'll get back to that. I don't know why he needed to look at the monster to realize that, and why is he so happy about it.
He wants out!
Now we have to fight this creature in a parking lot. You mostly just shoot it until you win, but there's a little more to it than that. Ha ha ha, you can't touch me in here. Can't touch me, you stupid piece of... It uses an eye to scour the area, so I shoot it. It gets so mad that he rams me over and spins in the air. Wow. It looks cool. There's a body at the bottom, multiple mouths on the body, multiple heads, even more bodies on top, and chains. It's called the Amalgam Alpha Male, so I assume it's an amalgamation of every emotion that Ruvik is feeling. Angry, trapped, being blind to the atrocities he commits. Because it's a big boy, it can throw cars at you, and of course Sebastian survives it. And it will attempt to eat you with its giant mouth. So I feed it some explosive bolts, and it doesn't take it too well. Probably lactose intolerant. Sebastian has a nice elevator ride, which takes him back to the city from the beginning. And man oh man, This is a shit show. Everything is in ruin. The buildings are moving on top of each other. The floor is falling. Sometimes the floor is rising. It's great. The scenery here is truly immaculate. This has to be one of the best depictions of a destroyed city I've ever seen in a game. This is kind of depressingly beautiful. Sebastian doesn't give a damn, a bus almost falls on him and he barely flinches, just casually walks around it. I lied earlier, the rifle wasn't the last weapon. You can find a magnum here. It's powerful, but notice how you find it after the big boss fight. Thanks, Mikami.
You're welcome.
Some of my favorite combat encounters are in this chapter. The game throws a lot of enemies at you, including a new one with a gas tank on its back, which of course you can blow up. Why did he even wear that? It's probably heavy. Look at this dude. They have guns, but they're still idiots. He can't hit me. But he was actually just distracting me from the horde of enemies that spawned behind me. Who's the idiot now? Me. It's mostly a good chapter, but there's this section later on, which is shitty, like really shitty. The whole area is filled with flammable gas, meaning you can't shoot the enemies, because if you do, the whole place blows up. So you need to silently take them out, or sneak around and hide from them, but if they see you, they don't even try and fight you. They just... You can shoot them with harpoons though, you can do that. There's also these weird, spinning, pointy things with mannequins on them. If they touch you, you get damaged. Wasn't there something stupid like that in RE6? Who came up with this? This is so goofy.
Oh shit.
Ah, man. Sebastian encounters an unkillable water monster that you need to distract with corpses. And yes, you can swim here. Remember how this game was supposed to go against the modern trends? Now, I'm not saying it copied this part from Amnesia, but... okay, I'm definitely saying that. Wait. A Saw poster? Were the Saw movies still popular back then? Does this mean that Ruvik likes these movies? That's not surprising. Why else would this poster be here? After that, something cool happens. We are forcibly pulled into the save room, and it's noticeably more corrupt and filthy.
This place is filthy.
Ruvik is invading our safe space. His influence grows stronger. Soon, nowhere will be safe. Save rooms in video games are supposed to be safe. This is the one place you know you can actually relax. You're used to not being in danger here, but now it all changed. You're still not in actual danger, but it doesn't feel like that. The atmosphere is dark and creepy, and eventually, even the nurse mysteriously disappears. So you truly feel alone. You know what we need in this tense situation? Another Resident Evil 4 tribute. Remember that part from RE4 with a gate that opens and closes? Yeah, that part. Also this part. Remember this part? Again, I'm not complaining. It's cool references, I guess. We finally find Deborah, Kidman, who has her own problems.
Kidman, hold on!
Help! There's too many of them!
We help her out, but I guess that door feels really nice. She keeps rubbing against it, even after all of the enemies are down. She calms down once Sebastian reaches her, but more enemies show up.
Save it for later. There are probably more of them around.
Look out!
Did he just kick the air? He really wanted to open that door. He saw the door was already open, but he wanted to commit to that kick animation. They fend them off, and just as they're about to relax, Sebastian decides to take some inspiration from Joseph.
On me.
Sebastian? What is...
Stay back.
Okay, Sebastian just got shot point blank in the head, or at least somewhere in the body. Do you think he's injured in any way? Place your bets now. Is it A, he's in a better place now? B, he got injured and his health bar was lowered? C, the bullet teleported into another dimension? Or D, no, nothing happened, because he can survive anything. If you answered D, you are correct, because this mofo somehow has more power in cutscenes than he does in gameplay. If you answered C, maybe you're correct as well? Who knows?
What is this?
What is this?
Did you shoot me?
You started turning into a monster. You attacked me. I'm sorry, but you're tainted now. You might try to stop me through you.
Wait, what are you talking about?
After losing Kidman, we reunite with Joseph. But then Kidman shows up anyway, even though she just said that she doesn't trust Sebastian, and now we're on a school bus fighting a giant bug. Oh, you think this is random? Well, yeah. Did you forget what game this is? It should have been called The Randomness Within. I'm so clever. Something I really dislike about games from this time, and maybe this happens in our time too, but I don't really play modern games too often, is how if you lose, you have to sit through the same cutscenes over and over again. You can skip the big cutscenes, but not the little ones that show that an enemy is coming. Yes, I know there's a big enemy here. You don't have to show it to me every time. Eventually the juicy spider gets hit by a tunnel, and Joseph makes an interesting observation.
We seem to be moved around an awful lot, almost as if by someone's will. So it's nearly impossible to get any sense of the geography around here. But the light, Beacon Mental Hospital, it's always in the distance. This thing you found me hooked up to, I've seen it in more than one place.
Yeah, so have I. It seems like it's the same exact one, but it's hard to be sure.
The thing that I've noticed is that each time I run across one, I seem to be closer to the lighthouse. It could be a coincidence, but like I said, it seems as if there is some intelligence behind it.
So you figure we ought to cut to the chase and just head straight for the hospital?
Exactly.
Nice work, Detective.
Basically, we need to go back to where the game began. You know what Joseph gets for his discovery? A bullet to the chest. If this was Sebastian, the bullet would probably bounce off back at the enemy. Wait.
What the fuck?
We have to fight off some enemies and find a medkit for Joseph. On the way back, we get, I kid you not, the best part of any game ever. A turret section. This is exactly what any survival horror game needs. Okay, I guess it's kind of satisfying mowing all of them down, but come on, a turret section? Really? That's lame. Also, everything gets covered in dust, so you can't even see what you're shooting at. Sebastian gets back on the bus, heals Joseph, and we take control of Kidman as she drives the bus at these lunatics. The game can sometimes be janky. It can't load all of the enemies at once. Look at them suddenly popping into existence, just to get rammed by me. Eventually Ruvik shows up again, and makes them fly and crash the bus, which I feel he could have done at any point. If I was Ruvik, they wouldn't make it past the first level. Joseph and Sebastian get separated from Kidman, so our next objective is to find her. 2 seconds later, they themselves get separated.
Damn it. First Kidman, now...
Yes, Sebastian, you're all alone. You're always alone. Nobody likes you. Well, maybe except this guy. He seems to like you. Yeah, the keeper is back. He's just hanging around these collapsed apartments while carrying a dead body on his hammer. To each their own, I guess. After another encounter with the Beyblade squad, we find Joseph running away from Rectangle Man. Was that a Doom 3 sound effect? Yeah, that's definitely a Doom 3 sound effect.
You again?
You need to wait for the elevator that Joseph took to come back down. In the meantime, if you have enough ammo, you can easily farm him for brain juice. We eventually get to... Did I just pick up an item without breaking the box first? We eventually get to a lovely park with bubbles and see Kidman with Leslie taking a walk, but it's not a romantic walk. It's actually kind of sad.
Leslie can go home? Can take the train all the way home?
No, Leslie. Not today.
You'll protect me?
Yes, that's my job.
Good, good, good. When I get home, they'll be surprised.
It's not your fault. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Whoa, relax, lady. Why you gotta shoot my boy like that? Unsurprisingly, Kidman is a double agent, but she's not evil. She's being vague, but she mentions how she has orders from her employers. We don't know who they are, but they're interested in Leslie. She reveals that Ruvik is also interested in him, for whatever reason. Just as she's about to elaborate, Leslie does a fus roda and runs away. But she's really determined to end this child. This is sad. This poor kid just wants to go back home to his parents, but different people want to exploit him. He's more important than anyone realizes. It's not his fault.
It's not your fault.
Forget about that for now. At this point, I upgraded my harpoons to do fire damage, which means I can basically one-shot almost every enemy. It's great and hot. It's also stealthy, so other enemies can't hear how I'm literally cooking one of them. Now let's look at something cold. Look at this rain. I really like the environments in this game. Not only do they look great, but there's a lot of variety as well. See what I mean? Literally a minute after being on a train, in the rain, I'm inside of a spooky tunnel, fighting two-headed zombies. After going into a stinky sewer, I'm about to roast another one, but he gets taken by a big tentacle. And then another one. Hey, you're stealing all of my kills. Eventually it grabs me as well, so I shoot it in the... face? Until it lets me go.
Have I wandered into some kind of nest? Damn it. What am I, an electrician?
I don't know, Sebastian. Why are you asking me? After trying to fix an elevator, he gets grabbed by the tentacle monster and we have another boss fight. It's a nice fight. The boss can summon little monsters to attack you and jump into these holes to try and ambush you with its big tentacles. It kind of reminds me of the You Free boss from RE4. I don't know what it's supposed to symbolize. The in-game model description says that it represents Ruvik's desire to not be seen, because the boss can turn invisible and it has a long reach with its tentacles, which kind of makes sense, because Ruvik is manipulating everyone from afar while staying hidden. But I don't know, that's not what I think about when I look at a giant tentacle monster. You better not know what I think about. After defeating the Squidman and getting on an elevator, we go outside again and see that we're close to the hospital. Ruvik doesn't like that, so he sends us a loving message. You will suffer. You know, you could have written that on a note instead of throwing construction pillars at me. It's less effort. He leads us to his last conversation with Jimenez. Their relationship came to a boiling point when the doctor published Ruvik's paper in his own name. But that's not the worst part. No, the worst part is that he came to take him away, and he brought some friends.
All that's left is the procedure.
Indeed. That is why we are here.
We? You wouldn't dare. You couldn't complete it without me.
Precisely.
Trying to make me feel sorry for you?
Okay, so what just happened? What exactly has been happening in this insane game? Buckle up, cause here comes all of the explanations. This is a good time to grab some snacks or popcorn. So you know how Sebastian, Joseph, Jimenez, and pretty much everyone are connected to Ruvik's brain? Well, his brain is all that's left of him.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Never mind.
Ruvik was working on a machine that could link multiple minds to a single host. The machine was called STEM. As insane as Ruvik is, he supposedly had good intentions. He wanted to use STEM so that he could use his memories to travel back to the past and be with his sister.
But then I saw her. Deep down I know she was only an apparition. But I would regain my face. Recover what was taken from me. Restore her. My beloved sister, Laura.
That's why he needed test subjects. Jimenez found out about his experiments and was more than happy to provide him with fresh, meaty sacrifices. But he had his own plans. It's time for the twist that every Resident Evil uses. You see, he was working with a secret organization this whole time, and they were very interested in this machine. Jimenez waited until Ruvik was almost done, and then sold him off to the organization. They initially wanted to kill him, but realized his machine won't work without him. He designed it in a way where he has to be the host. Maybe he knew this would happen, and that was his contingency plan.
You couldn't complete it without me.
Precisely.
So they said, oh yeah? Well, we're gonna kill you anyway, but we're gonna keep your brain and plug it into STEM. You will feel every emotion imaginable at the same time and see only darkness. What do you think of that, smarty pants? Yes, that's exactly what they said.
An eternity of intensity. Pain. Pleasure. Rage. Ecstasy. Blending together into a single piercing noise. Until the darkness was broken by sparks.
What's funny is that the very first note you can find in the game is about STEM. You just didn't know what it was yet. You had no context. Everything and everywhere we've been in this game, it was all influenced by Ruvik's memories. But they were all convoluted and jumbled up, which is why we got teleported from one location to another, with no sense of continuity.
Memories are vague things indeed. It can be easy at times for memories to be distorted by others. That is why they must be cherished.
So what is this organization, and what do they want? They're called Mobius. No, not Mobius. Get that shit away from me. They're basically like the Illuminati, and unlike Ruvik, they don't have good intentions. Yeah, they're more evil than the anime edgelord who tortures people. Mobius didn't want to use STEM to relive happy memories or anything wholesome like that. No, they want something much simpler. They just want to connect every person into a single consciousness in order to easily control all of humanity. See? Simple. It kind of works like the Matrix. All of the people connected to STEM are basically having a shared dream. Their consciousness exists in a big simulation. I never understood how that would work. Physically. Logistically, people need to be plugged in these bathtubs, right? Is Mobius going to make 10 billion bathtubs and plug every single person on the planet? That sounds like a hassle. After they stole STEM from Ruvik, they plugged some people to experiment. Everything was fine and even dandy, until they realized that uh-oh, Ruvik's brain is turning everyone into fleshy monsters. Most of the enemies we fight in the game are just random people who were corrupted inside of this hellish simulation. Which is why Joseph and Sebastian also began to transform, but they had enough willpower to resist it. Even animals can be affected by him. But how does that work? Did they put a small dog in the special bathtub? So what about Kidman? Well, she also works for Mobius, because of course, this is a game from the creator of Resident Evil. Of course a secret, shady organization is going to be involved, and of course one of the characters is going to be a spy, working for that organization. She infiltrated the police force to work with Sebastian. Even before the events of the game, Sebastian was suspicious of her. He felt like she was watching them. Oh, and Joseph had a crush on her. Asian men with glasses having a crush on a tall police lady? Where have I seen that before?
I could use a wingman.
Yes.
I can't promise it'll be any fun.
Well, I could be your thigh man.
Don't press your luck.
Why did Mobius want her spying on Sebastian? Because he was getting close to the truth. A lot of people disappeared because of Mobius. So Sebastian and his wife, who was also a cop, were sent to investigate. Though at the time, he did not know those missing cases were connected to Mobius. You'll only know about it if you read all of the notes. Sebastian doesn't mention any of this once during the game. I think hiding super important plot details in notes is stupid. But I'll talk about that later. After Ruvik's brain started causing trouble in their simulation, Mobius planned on sending Kidman into STEM so she could find Leslie. They realized that Leslie has similar brainwaves to Ruvik, but without all of the hatred and madness. He's someone they can control, which means they could use him to create another, more controlled STEM simulation. And somehow they made her immune to Ruvik's influence, which is why she never transforms. They also wanted to send Sebastian inside in order to get rid of him, because again, he was getting closer to the truth. They also wanted to get rid of Joseph, I guess, just because he's part of the group. But Kidman realized that Ruvik wants to get out, and he needs Leslie to do it. He needs to take control of his body. That's why she tries to get rid of him, even though she doesn't want to. She's trying to stop Ruvik from getting out. All of this gets expanded upon in the DLCs, but I wanted to explain a lot of it now, so you'll have more context. All of these people and this giant machine are located somewhere inside of Bacon Hospital. Somehow, when the group got close to the hospital in the beginning of the game, they got pulled into STEM. Or Ruvik himself somehow pulled them in. I'm not sure. If so, I'm not sure how Ruvik's consciousness got out. He's literally a brain at this point, and he's inside a simulation.
Ruvik, I created this world. You cannot keep me here.
Ruvik is definitely a tragic villain who got really unlucky in life, but he killed a lot of innocent people, so we're still gonna kill his ass. With all of these explanations out of the way, we can finally move on to the last part of the game. The final chapter. The Evil Within. Whoa, that's the name of the game!
Beacon, just like Joseph said.
Everything. Everything is in ruin, except for the hospital. We go inside and see the same image from the beginning. Everyone's dead by the hands of Ruvik.
I knew it.
Thank you for the green gel. Remember the pool of blood Sebastian fell in after escaping the chainsaw dude? You can take a nice dip inside if you want. We literally go through the opening of the game while chasing after Leslie, who keeps disappearing. He has some control over the simulation, which is how he manages to lead Sebastian here. But it seems like he also knows that he doesn't have much time left, and seemingly accepts his fate.
Leslie?
Eventually Sebastian gets into the hallway where Ruvik killed all of those cops and sees a vision of the event. Only this time, Ruvik also tries to kill him. Finally, the villain is using his broken powers. But you know how every creature in the game is weak to fire? Burning alive makes him kind of upset, so he teleports us to... This. Holy. Look at this. Look at all of these eyeballs and blood. So grotesque and beautiful. You can shoot them if you want. They blink. Also, yes, because Sebastian broke the lantern in the cutscene, we can't use it in the game anymore. You basically fight waves of enemies, and also, it's one of my favorite combat encounters. Maybe my favorite. The action here is great. There's tons of enemies, the arena has some verticality to it, but this is also a horror game, so we have all of these spooky eyeballs around us. I was running low on ammo, which made it more exciting. Each time you kill a group of enemies, more show up. Until eventually, another chainsaw dude shows up, only this time he's also the rocket launcher dude. I easily dispose of him, that's what you get for stealing my jacket. but we're not done yet, because now we have to fight two keepers at the same time. And yes, this is a total ripoff or tribute to the double pyramid fight from Silent Hill 2, and I love it. And just like that fight, you can finally kill them here once and for all. I love these guys. When you kill them, the water gets filled with their blood. Juicy.
If I make it out alive, I'm never riding in an elevator again.
Sebastian finds the room where all of them are being kept in the real world. He even finds himself, which is super trippy.
It can't be.
Impossible.
But before he can think about it, Leslie runs inside, with Kidman following him, who really wants to shoot him.
Sebastian, listen to me. Stop. Your interests are the same as ours.
Look, I get it. You're not just some rookie detective, and this is not just some ordinary kid. You killed Joseph and you shot me. So right at this moment, that's enough reason for me not to trust you.
You're a good man. That's why Doesn't matter anymore.
Instead of saying something like, hey, listen, you know Ruvik, that edgelord, the anime villain? He's trying to take control of this kid so he can get out of here, which may be dangerous for humanity because he's a lunatic. Instead of saying something like that, she's being vague. But it doesn't matter, because Ruvik finds them. He forces Leslie to walk up to him. Ruvik seemingly succeeds in absorbing Leslie and taking control of him, and he proceeds to turn into water?
Leslie!
What the fuck?
Well, we're cooked. Also, if Kidman really wanted to shoot Leslie, why did she just stand there and watch? We're shown the real Sebastian resting and taking his bath, while the one inside Stem is taking a little dive. I would have died from a panic attack if I was in this situation. Throughout the whole game, we were always falling down. Long way down. Sebastian was descending deeper and deeper into the evil within. The last fall is the greatest. The whole simulation converges into Ruvik's brain, and we have our final boss fight. Like at the end of every Resident Evil game, you fight a giant, mutated, roasted meatball. Only here, you're in a nightmare reality, and it's a turret section, again with the turret. Just like how the areas in the game are all jumbled up, the same goes for the game design. It's like they wanted to make a truly spooky, psychological horror game, then they remembered that they made Resident Evil 4, so they put in more action. And eventually they were like, whatever, let's just use every modern trend we can think of, from hiding in lockers to turret sections. But that's not the whole boss fight, because eventually, Sebastian gets freaking impaled. And of course he survives this. Not only that, but a dead chainsaw man holding a rocket launcher looking ass drops dead in front of him. How lucky is this guy? He has shit luck on the outside, but inside Stem, he's the luckiest person ever. Having a rocket launcher makes you think you're gonna kill him in one shot, like in Resident Evil, right? Oh, you poor fool. No, this is basically another turret section. You have to shoot Ruvik himself multiple times, which is harder than you think. After enough damage, they both fall down. He attempts to eat us, but we deliver the final shot with the pistol. Even though we never had a pistol, we had a revolver. Whatever. Eat lead, you bold, pathetic, sadistic, teleporting me every 2 seconds ass, unhinged bastard. Sebastian seemingly wakes up outside of Stem. He stumbles out of the bathtub and notices the source of all the evil in this place. The evil within, if you will. It's Ruvik's brain. His consciousness is still alive, but that's not gonna stop me. Ooh, man, that was satisfying. I've been waiting all game to do that. Bye bye. Now, he finally wakes up in real life. Kidman got out earlier and is watching him. She notices he woke up and signals him to be quiet. Even though she's a traitor, she is protecting him. The experiment is over, so Mobius is killing off anyone left. She puts him back to sleep and leaves with everyone else, thus saving his life. And now, finally, he fully wakes up. He's the only one left alive. All of the characters we encountered are here, and they are dead. Meaning that anyone who dies inside of STEM actually dies. He goes back to the main hall of the hospital. Finally free from this nightmare. He sees actual light for the first time in a long while as the door opens up and cops swarm inside.
Detective, are you alright? Is there anyone else?
Just give me some real fresh air.
Sebastian is like, you will not believe the day I had, and I'm too tired to talk about it. Get me the heck out of here, mate. We see Leslie. Ruvik seemingly took control of him and got out, and the game is over. I am now going to rant about this ending for a bit. No one seems to notice him. The main villain wasn't defeated. He actually won, and is free to do whatever he wants. That's a major part of the plot, right? Nope, I guess not. Sebastian doesn't chase after him, doesn't tell anyone about him, and from what I remember, this gigantic plot point isn't addressed in the sequel. So I guess Ruvik is just out there, inside of Leslie. Okay. I might have an explanation. Sebastian hears the weird sound emitted by STEM for the final time. He's the only one who hears it, because only people inside of STEM are affected by it. So maybe, somehow, just for a brief moment, his mind was still inside of STEM, and that's why he saw him. Or maybe Sebastian is insane and that was just a hallucination. I don't know, it's not explained, but I do kind of like it. It's up for interpretation. It's a chilling ending, and then the music kicks in and it slaps. But I'm afraid to put it in the video because of copyright claims. Thanks, YouTube. I'm still gonna put it in the background. We established that everyone was just sleeping in these bathtubs all of this time. If Mobius wanted to find Leslie, couldn't they just send someone to his bathtub? I mean, he's right there, with everyone else. Also, did Sebastian smash Ruvik's real brain? Or did that also happen inside of STEM? So I guess that's it. That was The Evil Within, a great game with a questionable mishmash of ideas. Regardless of anything negative I said in this video, overall, I love The Evil Within. It was a beacon of hope for the horror genre when it came out. And just in general, it's a spooky game, and it has a lot of heart. I do prefer the sequel for its gameplay, but the first one has a better atmosphere and horror vibes. Before we end this, let's talk about the save room. It's been a major help in our journey. Its theme song is Claire de Lune. It's such a good choice. I'm not always good at expressing my emotions, but it always felt nice hearing this music from a distance, knowing you're close to your safe space. It's so calm and comforting. It's such a big contrast to the horrific events of the game, though it's funny how no one notices Sebastian going in and out. He disappears in front of their eyes and no one comments on it. Maybe each of them has their own save room and they're just used to it?
Impossible.
You need to use mirrors in order to get in and out of there. And you might have noticed how, right before getting there for the first time, the word ambulance was spelled backwards. Pretty clever. There are a ton of cool things that can happen here. I'm pretty sure it's all scripted and not randomized, but it's still cool. Occasionally you will find this guy that just yaps about Ruvik and gives you hints about the plot. He dies at the end.
Poor guy. Rest in peace.
Sometimes Ruvik himself will invade the save room and knock Sebastian out. You know, instead of just killing him. Most villains are just not practical. Sometimes he just takes a peep through his family photo. He just likes to watch you. Sometimes his sister will come out from another photo. Sometimes he forces you out of there and teleports you to somewhere dangerous. He might even trick you with a friendly face. You think it's just Leslie. You walk over to him, then BAM! He has a mirror for a face that pulls you out of the save room. Towards the end of the game, you even lose access to the save room. Your only safe place was taken away by Ruvik. But at least he left you with the upgrade chair, right? No. He eventually takes that too. It really makes you feel vulnerable. Sometimes there are newspapers detailing events from the past, or missing posters of people you interact with during the game, which is very ominous. I mean, you were just talking to them, how can they be missing? You do see them in the game, and yet they are missing in real life, which hints at the true nature of STEM, without actually revealing what it is. One of the posters most likely depicts Kidman, but unlike the others, her name is Crust, and she has a nickname, which is also Crust. She is working for a secret Illuminati group, so Kidman is probably not her real name.
I'm gonna punch you in the neck.
You can find secret keys to open secret lockers and get items. You usually find them inside of these statues. They're hidden throughout the levels, so you really need to look for them. Sometimes they like to fly on birds, but sometimes you find them in other places, like inside of corpses. You just stick your hand inside of them. That's not disgusting or unhealthy. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
What the fuck?
One of the best things to find inside the lockers is the lovely brain juice. You get a lot of it. This is also where you upgrade your stats. I think most of the upgrades aren't worth it. The best thing to do here is increase your ammo capacity, health, and stamina. If you don't use the brain juice for a while, Tatiana will comment on it.
Don't you think you should use your green gel?
Let's talk about her. She was a nurse at Beacon Hospital who went missing, like a lot of people, and was probably plugged into STEM. And that's all we know. For now.
Missing? But she's...
I don't think there's an actual explanation as to what the save room actually is. If there is one, I missed it. So I believe it's a secret location inside of STEM, built by Tatiana herself.
Sebastian. Have you forgotten something?
She used whatever conscious power she had to build a safe haven for those who were unfortunate enough to get trapped here. Maybe because she's a nurse, it's in her nature to care for others. Or maybe this is just here for gameplay purposes, and I'm full of poop.
If one wishes to survive, one would do well to consider who they trust.
If you want to know everything about everyone, the game offers descriptions for each creature, or you can just go to the wiki. Only by reading the descriptions will you ever find out that the Chainsaw Man was actually a real-life serial killer. It's kind of annoying that a lot of things in this game are left unexplained. On the other hand, it is fun to speculate. The evil within isn't perfect by any means. The gameplay can feel weird and janky, with mechanics that don't really mesh with each other and feel out of place, like the stealth. It is cool that you have all of these options, and you can say there's a lot of variety in the gameplay, but sometimes it feels like the game doesn't know what it wants to be. And if you really want to be technical, you can't really call it a survival horror game, because it's very linear, there's no actual backtracking, there's barely any puzzles. Though I will admit that I was almost always low on ammo, at least on the difficulty that I played, so if the game was aiming to emulate that survival horror feeling of having very little resources, then I guess it pulled it off. The story gets predictable towards the end, and at the same time leaves too many unanswered questions. But it has genuinely good ideas, and a lot of great moments. There's a lot of variety in terms of locations. There's a ton of variety, actually. You start in a hospital, then a slaughterhouse, then a spooky village, then tunnels, caves, creepy mansions, a collapsing city, a collapsing building, the eclipse from Berserk, a giant brain. There's so much. Imagine falling into a sweet chocolate river with candy and puppies. Then everything fills with blood and eyeballs. That's what it's like playing the evil within. You never know what to expect, but you always know it's going to be something insane and disgusting. In a good way. Despite all of its shortcomings, it remains memorable. It has heart. It was made by people who actually love video games, and that's why people still talk about this game to this day. That's why they make long video essay retrospectives where they can't stop yapping about it, but I wouldn't know anything about that. Also, the enemy design is... mwah! It's great. Laura looks like a combination of a spider and Ju-on the Grudge, but it's not just the bosses. The regular enemies are not your generic zombies. They have stitches, barbed wires, and other pointy things coming out of them. It's like they're constantly in pain and suffering. Up until the moment I make their heads explode. Maybe the evil within wasn't a return of survival horror. It has flaws, but it's still a damn good game, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I love the evil within, and I find myself appreciating it more and more as time goes by. Having said all of that, I do still think it has one major flaw. One of the biggest flaws in my opinion is the protagonist. I promise this is my final rant for this game. Just bear with me. Sebastian is kind of a bland character. In a game that is supposed to be all about survival and psychological horror, it's kind of disappointing.
Very disappointed.
Yes, there are good psychological horror games with boring protagonists, just look at Silent Hill 1, but that should be an exception. There was so much potential here, the game could have really explored his character, but as it stands, Sebastian is almost a nothing character. From what is shown to us in-game, all we know about him is that he's a cop, and maybe he had some kind of drinking problem. And you know, that could have been fine, except the game hides a lot of information about him, so like, why not show it to us? We learn about his backstory from notes and newspapers we find, like how he had a daughter named Lily, a wife named Myra, who was also a detective, like how he used to stare at her ass, but he was afraid she would notice.
Necessary for me, my ass.
How he and his wife were investigating all of the missing cases throughout the city, only Sebastian wasn't aware that these people were taken by Mobius. How his wife disappeared one day without a trace. You know, pretty important stuff that are very relevant to the plot. Why not convey this in the cutscenes or during gameplay? This aspect of the story is so disconnected from what we see of his character in the game, because he doesn't talk about them. He doesn't even act like he had a family. Even when you find newspapers that detail all of the tragic events that happened to his family, he just doesn't say anything. Finding reports about his lost family in a nightmare dimension does nothing to him. You could argue that it's not important to the overall plot. You could even say that he's not even the main character here. He's just a random dude in someone else's story. And yeah, but it's still kind of disappointing. If this is the case, then just don't bother with the backstory. Also, why didn't Ruvik use Sebastian's trauma against him? Ruvik should know everyone's backstory. He could have manifested illusions of his wife and daughter and forced them to fight. Maybe make Sebastian relive all of those horrible nights he had to change his daughter's diapers. You know, something traumatizing. It could have been interesting. I guess Sebastian acted so boring in this game, Ruvik forgot he even had a backstory. There's only one time where he kind of, vaguely, talks about what happened to them and how it led to him drinking. Thankfully, all of that is massively expanded upon in the sequel. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about the DLCs. Honestly, I don't really like the DLCs, but for the sake of completion, I'll cover them next time. If you enjoyed the video, consider watching my other videos. I mostly talk about horror games, so if that sounds interesting to you, go and check these videos out. Thanks for watching.